Extra is hosted by Kyle and Ajay. Each week, they discuss Nigeria's current events and latest news. Thanks for joining and for being a part of this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share. Keep the conversation going as we give you something extra. News you can use. Extra is an Icon production. We're live.
Hey. Another week.
Another week. News you can use, but
Extra news you can. That's
news
right.
You can use.
Thank you, everyone, for joining Extra News You Can Use.
Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your mama's friends.
This is a little time that Kyle and I put together for our Icon podcast to discuss some of the issues that have been, or the news headlines for Nigeria. We have been keeping up with just a lot of the cases of like the killings and stuff like that, but it kind of baffled us for how long it had been kind of going on. So we just kind of felt like kind of discussing it and to stress it out a bit more. So welcome to extra. Yeah, stress it out. Like to spread, like to let people know how crazy some of these headlines are.
We don't cause any more stress. Oh, you mean you want to stress the point?
Yes.
Oh, I get it. I'm making fun of you. Sorry.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
It's wrong.
So how was your week, man?
It's there.
Good week?
Yeah. These days to stop asking how my week was.
Yeah.
It's all these things. I think it's all, every day you wake up, this is the week. This is going to be a great week for Nigeria, but I still have hope. Yeah. Keep hope alive, right? Hope for Nigeria.
For now, what? Nigeria. Oh, there you go. Hope for Nigeria. That's right. Yeah, I need to get mine. Mine just says boil on it.
$25.
Well, crawfish boil.
$25 will get your shirt. And you too can get yours for a suggested donation of $25. That's right. For limited time only. You've got green and white, and that's it. Send an email to info@iconhelp.org and we'll get you set up right. Small, medium, large, and double XL for those double XLs. Anyways, let's get this first article.
We should try doing something like we're like the 50th person that like tags us or something. Would get
you
like
do
a
that,
t-shirt
man.
Or something.
How about the third person to write us an email gets a free t-shirt. First two, you don't get it. So
yeah.
Disclaimer is all School abduction as ticking time bomb. This is another Guardian article talking about the Amnesty International report, the increasing spat of school abductions and the deliberate inaction on the part of the government. Now that's saying a lot. The deliberate inaction to prevent the mass abduction of students is a damning allegation that must not be taken lightly. I mean, I remember here in the U.S. when they started putting metal detectors outside of schools, parents went up all in an uproar, but it's security measure. But in Nigeria, where you're not having kids bring weapons to school, you're having armed bandits, flaunting militants coming in and taking kids wholesale in a couple of vans, and just driving off.
Yeah, that to me is just like the crazy part about a lot of how bad the situation is. Like when I feel that when people are helpless within the sense that they have to just attack children, like it's, you attack the whole school system literally. Like for how long has like school been out in a good number of states in Nigeria? Like for a couple of months, almost some years now.
And months, man.
And and they talk about how like even the decline of education amongst the people, like it's just going down, and like the effect that it's going to have on the nation even as a whole for these next couple of years, because they will have like those generations that have that gap in
They're saying, I mean,
educational growth.
I mean, I read there's a UNICEF report that came out like late last year, early this year. It talked about this one only said, I don't know where those numbers coming from, 1.3 million children that it affected. But what
Yeah.
I've read last year is 10.5 million children are out of school in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Again,
So this one says 2020 to 2021. So
listen, 10.5 million children. That's an active. That's as of that report, December.
yeah.
So I don't know what their numbers come from. Maybe it's only in those areas that affected by Boko Haram and ISWAP and stuff like. But overall in Nigeria. So this is overall number 10.5 million are out of
Yeah.
school in Nigeria. That's 1 out of 5 children in
Kids.
Nigeria are not school age children are not in school.
Yeah. And that is more so why, like Kyle and I, like we are trying to bring awareness about this by doing Xtra. It just didn't start today. This has been ongoing. It has been our snowball effect of the insecurity, of the corruption, and a lot of just the disheartening stories that you hear coming out of Nigeria, that has birthed this issue, and it's an ongoing one. It's continuous, and yeah, I don't know.
I think
It's
I figured it out, and I read deeper. I read it the first time and it didn't make sense. That's why I jumped to the UNICEF one because the numbers are more staggering. But
Mhm.
this was saying specifically there's 11,536 schools since 2020 that have been closed.
Yeah.
Those 11,000 schools have affected 1.3 million. But then
Yeah.
across the entire Nigeria, 10.5 million. So 11,000 over 11,000 school closures affecting immediate 1.3 in 2020, but overall 10.5 million out of school. I mean, this is something that goes on. This is something that doesn't get reported on, and yet again we keep going back to this age every blessed week.
Yeah.
All the money it's been thrown, and you keep saying, follow the money, follow them. I mean,
Yeah.
let's just call this show "Follow the Money." In fact, let's just start a show "Follow the Money," and then we'll follow. Maybe that's the next program.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's ludicrous how much money is, not just the U.S. government, but the EU, the UK government is giving money into these sort of programs to help education from the primary to the secondary, not so much the tertiary, the university, but for sure the primary level. And we have 10.5 million kids out of school. In the US, we were talking about quality of education, school choice and all that stuff. That's our biggest. We have schools here. They
Yeah.
don't have school. Kids aren't going to
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. 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 And nobody really calculates how that will affect them in the future. It's is it
We
like,
can't
yeah,
project
they can
it.
take it. I mean, yeah, but you definitely you know, education plays a big role in a lot of things, and if you're not educated, how are you going to get through? You
It's
know,
everything. I mean, you can look studies here where marginalized people didn't have the opportunity to go to school and they didn't learn to read or write. You go back to the early beginnings of the U.S. independence, whatever, all the way through till slavery was abolished and equal rights and all that stuff. There was definite factors of people what happened and what happened is the poverty, because if you can't read or write, your confidence level goes down. You're not able to get you can't compete for jobs as someone who's been through high school, been through university, so your self-esteem goes on. All these factors, I mean, these are general reports we can pull them out of anywhere, US, Europe,
yeah,
and you're right. What is the future of Nigeria if we have a fifth of the kids aren't educated? So the next generation, these kids, if they ever get back to school, which I hope and pray they do, but they're going to be delayed. They're going to be behind.
yeah,
Who knows? Are they going to be the next? Are they going to be the next presidents? Probably not, because they haven't had the opportunity. Are they going to be the next governors? Probably not. They haven't had the opportunity. Are they going to be the next kidnappers and terrorists? Perhaps, because that could be the only way of providing income.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah. I, just something more needs to be done for the sake of a lot of these kids. Um,
Well, kids,
it's
it's. I mean, let's be honest. It's children, but it's also women and girls. I mean, primarily it's female. I mean, the other article you were kind of looking at from Forbes was talking about how abducted and enslaved women, minority women, are
Yeah,
let down, and girls are let down by governments. I mean, Nigeria is a prime example of failure to females. We can't provide them basic items, an education, can't provide them justice, just assistance. They're forced sometimes to live with people that are abusing them, forced to live with terrorists and not being freed.
yeah,
These things are happening. These atrocities continue to happen, and they affect more than just the regular. I don't say regular, but people that have been in conflict zones. I mean, these are affecting children in the Middle Belt, children in the Northwest. The terrorists where they kept that Dapchi and Chibok is awful, but then just generally kidnapping girls across Nigeria
yeah.
is an awful thing.
And even, it is the effect that it has on the women. If like if a married lady with probably 3 4 kids, her husband gets killed, in most of the cases the husband is just a lifeline, so then she is left with trying to figure out how she will navigate to provide for these kids and take care of them on her own, you know which then brings the whole entire structure of this particular family, or any family that has fallen victim to this thing, into pure poverty. And I don't know how good some of the programs are, because a lot of them are just going to like the IDP camps and stuff like that, and then they're also attacking them there at the IDP camps, you know.
Yeah.
And still, even there are issues where some of the people in the IDP camps, there is just that structure to where women don't really have a huge say, or can
Oh, they don't
navigate
have
on
anything.
their
They're
own.
just there.
You know?
First, primarily as a woman, you're second class citizen a lot of times, and especially in the North, you're not created considered equal. So anytime a husband dies, your property goes to his brothers, right?
Yeah,
It's just cultural. So not only these girls are thwarted by not having education to be able to understand. Education is more than just going to school, learning to read, write, math, science, and all this stuff. It's interaction with other students. It's learning about how things in life sometimes work, worldview.
yeah,
The interaction with other students is paramount. My mother said this. Well, my mother said compare notes, talk, share, challenge each other, encourages one another. You don't have that because they're not in school.
yeah,
Then you talk about they're not even educated enough to take care of themselves. If their husband, as you said, the gravy boat is gone. The
yeah,
main provider, the person who provides, is gone. What is that woman going to do to provide for her children? Sometimes two, three, not just one child, but 3, 4, 5 children. Her brothers now have maybe left her for lost, and it's, yeah, it's one of these things where I think there has to be an outpouring of it has to be, this has to be addressed. So
yeah, yeah. And which then again leads you back into the stories of like Deborah and Naomi and Leah Sharibu, to them being some of the having some of the harshest experiences, to the after effect of a lot of these issues.
yeah,
Is it, not just because they are just women, but just because it's so easy just to take advantage of them,
yeah,
at whatever age they
right.
may be at, you
And
know.
people know that I can do this. Like Leah, they knew they could go to a girls' school,
Hmm.
kidnap all these 110 girls. They can go to Dapchi or Chibok school, kidnap all these girls, and just take them away. Because why? They're not considered equal. Their value is less. The parents will be upset, but they're not really gonna, it's for their own evil deeds.
Yeah,
We had Leah's birthday on Saturday. We talked about that last week, and how that her standing up for her, just saying no.
yeah,
And then we had the whole thing on Thursday. I think we were just getting into this with this blasphemy, Deborah Emmanuel. So that's a second article. Good segue.
yeah,
Gruesome blasphemy killing brings Nigeria's long-running ethno-religious divide into sharp focus.
yeah,
This is awful. I mean, not only do we have the article, we had very scant facts last week. We're just getting into the facts, and now we're hearing so much more that really happened, or you know, and it's just awful what's going on, because this is an ethno-religious tension that continues to show its ugly face.
I do want to make mention, and I think that we were able to get really good confirmation of this. Where is it? Her name is not actually
Not Deborah Samuel, not Deborah Yakubu, it's Deborah Emanuel. Her
Deborah Emanuel.
father is Emmanuel Garba. She's living when she's at school. She's living with a relative or a friend. I can't remember what it was, but his name is Samuel Yakubu. So,
Yeah,
whatever knew Deborah and the again investigated reporters didn't get the full name. They just heard someone say that it's Deborah Samuel Deborah Yakubu. They didn't really truly find out her name. So her name
yeah,
is Deborah Emanuel.
yeah,
Say her
yeah.
name. Don't forget her name.
Yeah, please. So anywhere that you hear them saying a different name, just kind of help them correct it, just so that um, um, the right record of her name will go around, and we can hashtag the right name too. So
Deborah Emanuel.
Deborah Emanuel.
And
Yeah,
that's it. So we last week we were hearing reports that it really wasn't a full-on blasphemy thing where she audibly said something about the prophet or Islam, but it was a conversation in WhatsApp. We don't know the full extent of it. Was it she trying to evade someone's advance? Was it a discussion in the chat where the religion was brought into too much, or there was a condemnation? Something happened. She was
yeah,
accused, and she was killed. And
yeah,
meanwhile, there was reports that guards were, armed security men were watching, because it just didn't happen post and then they killed it. It was posted, and then intent was made, and premeditation was enacted, and then they came, dragged her out, stoned her,
yeah,
gathered the tires, threw them on her, burned her alive. This didn't just happen on a whim. This has premeditated. This happened either the day after, or within a couple hours after, but it was thought out, well thought out. They brought matches, they brought fuel. This is just one of these things where's the support, the security? Last week, I think, AJ, you said this happened at a school. You
yeah,
can't be protected. Again, we go back to schools.
yeah.
Here she is in a university trying to finish her degree, and she can't be protected there.
And somebody was also saying that there were police and soldiers there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. They were
You know.
standing by, armed people were standing by watching this.
Yep. Yep. You know. So yeah, I think that just ever since it happened, it's just been really hard for me, even mentally, just to grasp the situation. I know that I watched the video, I saw it, and one thing that just kept on going through my mind was just how helpless she was. Like there was no help, and it was all men, just around this one individual. Just I yeah I
I mean, if there's again, we talked about this last week, blasphemy. So Sokoto is like the seat of the caliphate. So that's where the Islamic head, the Sultan of Sokoto, is there. He's the head of the Sunni Muslims in Nigeria. So they have Sharia and 11 other states. So 12 states have Sharia. So I don't know how. Again, we don't know how this happens. Year 2002 or something, when they enacted Sharia law for those 12 states, so the Muslims can have Sharia law, and then they also will uphold the Constitution. I'm not sure how that happens. Not discussion for a different time, but here it is. She could have been brought to a Sharia court. The accused is brought in. Whatever happens. We could have had something. It would have been logical. It would have been more whatever, but no. Jungle justice prevailed, and she was killed.
yeah, yeah. So and which then brings you to like the question, like if there is a group chat for a school and people are putting in stuff that they're not supposed to, like, how do you address it? Because a lot of times, like, you can't really control what people are putting in, like, those chats, and just some people are just, they will just keep on doing it no matter what, whether they do it knowingly or unknowingly,
I mean,
So,
we had the similar case where it was the Buffalo shooting, when this right wing white supremacist with mental health issues decides to act on his feelings, and he goes out and he attacks a specific place, a black community, a black grocery store, and picks them off. It's violent. That's disgusting. That is everything you want to put words to. That's what it is. And yet, this is very similar. This
Yeah.
girl was targeted because she was a Christian, because she was sought as not defending her faith, but just believing in her faith. And someone felt that they violated their faith. Well, again, I'm not sure what happened, but it didn't warrant her being killed. So
Yeah.
how does it go from that, and yet people aren't saying anything? How does it go for, very few people are commenting on it in the world? There's people in Nigeria, Bishop Kuka, maybe the Sultan of Sokoto, the president said something, great, but what are you doing about it? They arrested the guy in Buffalo, they arrested these two guys in Sokoto, but yet
Then what?
the charges that were brought were bailable. They could be released.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is like the other part of it too, that I've just been trying to just ask myself just again and again, you know, think about from how it escalated to everyone just then joining in. Nobody really, yeah, as you said, there was no quantum case. Like in some of the videos, you actually see her running from the main road into the school, or from some
Yeah, there's a lot
road
of
place.
fake news going on too. So be careful
You
when
know,
you're out there, because there's a lot of fake news videos and things that are happening. I'm not sure, the her being stoned and being set on fire, I think has been verified. But some of these, the attacks, after this happened, Sokoto was in a riot. There was supposedly protests that turned violent. Did it spread to Maiduguri? Did it spread to Kaduna and Kano? These are the kind of things. Again, it's one of these things. Is like, this is a hate crime, and we're not addressing it. And no one's, the embassy, the State Department didn't put out anything. Just today, just today, I got a text from a friend, a colleague, saying that the IRF ambassador at large,
mhm.
Rashid Hassan, said condemned the attack just today.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a week late.
yeah, 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 yeah. But
Applaud him.
more,
We give him
yeah,
credit, but yeah.
yeah. But more people need to, I think, really address this issue, because this shouldn't ever happen again.
Yeah.
You know, um, yeah, it's,
Should
uh,
never happen again, but
yeah,
you and I both know it will happen, because it probably happens more often than we know.
yeah, yeah,
And even some of the videos you were seeing, some again were fake, but there's just threats. Like, now, women walking on the street. If I'm a Christian living in a state that practices Sharia, I'd be afraid to go out, because someone could just accuse me right then and start stoning me.
yeah,
Right? If I was
yeah,
a woman doing that.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
all right, next article. I mean, this is still ongoing. We'll keep you updated on this story, because we want to know what's happening to these two that were charged. There's others. There has to be others that were just as guilty.
Yeah.
So hopefully Buhari will follow through this time. He's never followed through with Leah. So his track record. We don't have much hope in the government, but we hope something will happen.
Yep.
All right.
So our next article that we have up.
30 gunmen killed 323 security officers in 2022. So these are
And
Army, police, DSS, whatever.
Yeah.
From January 1st to May 15th this year.
Yeah. I don't know what other place in this world, like what other country, where they wouldn't be outraged by this amount of law in enforcement attacked and killed in. Yeah, those are numbers that you just cannot even ignore, you know.
Well, I mean, you have the problem already that the security forces are not never, I shouldn't say that, are often not trusted, right?
Mhm.
So when an attack happens, we've had this countless stories in Plateau State where attack was happened, but some of them came in military fatigues, or they were, looking like officers or something. They had weaponry that looks like it's only issued to the police or the military. So the trust level is down. So because they often think they're complicit in it. So people don't have sort of a what do you call it, sympathy for these security officers who are being killed. But it's tragic. I mean, if I had a son or a daughter, or if I was involved in security, I would want people to remember me as a protector of their security. But
Yeah.
being killed and people don't care. People in
Yeah.
the country don't care, Nigeria don't care, and then it's not really alarmed or warranted outside. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that even like with law enforcement too, like people need to understand that you need law enforcement. Like you need people that will enforce the laws. But if there are like law enforcement is also about trust. The law enforcement has a role that they have to play in getting those that they are protecting to trust the fact that that is what they are doing. If that trust is broken, then it just makes their work a bit harder. Because how are you going to get leads, information on criminal activity and all of that stuff
you've been watching, too
without
much
like
Law and Order, AJ. Well, that's what, but it's true though. Look, I mean, the security forces. If we are to, the army is it's a calling, right? That people say, it's a calling. Yeah, we thank you for your service, right? In the U.S., it's a recognition. When you board a plane, who goes on first?
Like law
Active duty
enforcement.
members, right? They call them
Hmm.
up there. You get on first. People thank them, shake their hands, whatever, whatever. In Nigeria, it's a thankless. It's a job for some. It's just a job. It's a place to get employment. I can maybe also, embezzle money or take money from, blackmail people, whatever. It's not a calling. It's not to serve and protect. Police. It's people laugh at police in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It's when you drive down the road and the police is trying to stop you. Do you stop because you fear that you may be arrested for violence? No, you say speed up and go. Just don't waste your time with these people.
Yeah, and that is a great point. Like you want to see like law enforcement and feel like this is someone that is going to help me. This is like I should feel safe, But it's sad if you see law enforcement and then there is fear, there is this idea where I'm just going to be cheated or he's just going to try to rob me too, and you know, um, yeah, and it is just hard, and for these bandits, unknown gunmen, Boko Haram, whoever it is that or of whatever group that is killing all of these law enforcement people, I feel it is just sad because this would either the first line of defense, the last line of defense. I don't know, but
But
it is one that is depended on a
well,
lot.
yeah, it's supposed to be. So it goes both ways, right? So the first thing people do is when an incident is happening, where are the police? Where are the soldiers? Where are they at, right?
Yeah,
But at
that
the
is the
same,
question that's
then
always asked. Yeah,
after it, to say, well, they're involved. They're just as guilty. So it's a both end. They're your protectors and they're also the actors. So what do we? The whole thing, there's no transparency. Where is the transparency? The police a couple of years ago, I remember they were going to change the uniform from the black to light blue. They did that to try to change their image. They were going to have them because there's pictures of them being lazy, overweight, all that stuff. So then they tried to change their image, try to get younger ones, try to make it more attractive, make it more that they are your friends, to be the ones you can rely on for protection. It doesn't happen. Same with military. I mean, military is, these guys they're sent, these women and men and women are sent around West Africa, around the world, sometimes as UN peacekeepers or ECOWAS peacekeepers, and they do a great job. They come
yeah,
back to Nigeria and people don't trust them,
yeah,
so there has to be reform. If an officer died in the States, what do? In the line of duty, they have a huge
they honor
parade,
them. Yeah,
a memorial service. They close down highways, not just back roads, highways,
yeah,
and they drive them down. Thousands of people come out. I remember watching the New York one with the I think it was two officers, or the one that died, and it was amazing. You're crying because of all the officers that came out in support.
yeah,
They don't do that in Nigeria because people don't respect them. Why
yeah,
don't they respect them? Because people don't understand them, and truthfully, the people, they need to deserve the respect. They need to earn the
yeah,
respect. So
yeah.
I get it. It's part of our job too to help build them up, but at the same time, they got to prove themselves worthy.
Yeah, it's a two-way thing, it's 50-50 makes 100, so if
You're good
you
at
know
math, AJ. I like it.
yo, if then, everyone has to play their part in making sure that the system itself also works, because it's it's some regular people that they see the occupation and they see the honor that is behind it, that makes them say, hey, I want to go and serve too. I want to be a police officer too, but from the moment that that respect is not there, why would anyone want to join something that they feel is not going to give them respect, it's not going to help any part of their status or whatever in Nigeria, you know?
Yep.
So uh,
Yeah, I think there's, that's a whole other conversation too. Again, we can have all these other conversations, but there has to be somehow has to be the public-private partnerships, between the government and then the institutions, the police, the security, the army, because the trust level is just not there. The confidence level is definitely not there. So,
yeah,
all right. Speaking of confidence level, this next story kind of came up. Was it yesterday, day before, maybe? I
yeah,
think Monday. So a school, maybe not at the school, but definitely nearby, just outside of school, in
yeah.
Sabangari area of Kano State, was well, depending on what you're reading or who you're talking to, was either bombed or a gas cylinder went off.
Yeah,
So a
yeah,
huge blast leaves 9 dead and countless others injured.
yeah. Yeah, this was a crazy story because it's like it happened, and then what first happened was you heard the report. Like there were these videos because I think the people that were there they were confused,
Yeah,
and I think the bomb took place near like a primary school,
yeah.
you know,
You saw them
um,
jumping out, their uniforms running out, just
probably yeah,
confused, bloodied on the street. It was just
probably
sad.
kindergarten through sixth grade or
Yeah.
so, based on I think the age limit from what we could see of just kids just frightened out of their mind. Um, and they said that it was a gas cylinder explosion, but then later, I think like a day or two after, there were stories of
No,
eyewitnesses
even
that
that day, people were coming out saying we saw a suicide bomber. This wasn't a gas explosion. There's no, you heard stories. There's no gas provide. The cylinders are like what people use here for their grills when they're cooking out. So they
yeah.
have a store, a shop where someone refills them, or they just for sale. There's no. They said there's nothing near the school like that.
And they have the extra canisters. Yeah, so that is another thing. They somebody reported that they know the area and that there is no gas selling
Yeah.
shop or like facility there. So yeah,
So again, it comes on the heels of the Bora Emmanuel thing where the riots were broken out. So maybe they wanted to kind of tamper it down and say, well, no, this is an accident. And typically that's what happens. When things happen, they downtrade. When they say, okay, there was an attack, 5 people died. Well, you and I know we always double that because that's what happens,
yeah,
because the media wants to bring it down. The police, the authorities want to bring it down. So right now they're saying 9 dead. We don't know why. Government's not really being forthright or straightforward or transparent with this, but it comes, again, I think someone else was mentioning that there's been warnings in Kano, the city of Kano, that we're going to get you. This is going to happen. We're going to take you down. Because I think this was a Christian school,
yeah,
or government school. I can't remember which one it was, but it was definitely not a Islamic Al-Madri school. So it was something where something is being covered up, you know.
yeah, yeah,
And then there's, I even read a story that the police lied. I mean, these things get circulated. Police lied. It actually was a suicide bomber. So where's the truth in this? If the
yeah.
government doesn't debunk some of these lies, then people are going to believe them. You know.
If the police don't, work to help, let people know the truth, then it brings you back to the trust issue again, to why people they just find it hard to believe anything that is happening. Um yeah, so
Yeah,
I yeah,
it's going to come back to, again, this is an election year, or not election year. It's a pre-election year. So February, March, May next year are the elections. Primaries are just about wrapping up. So they're going to have the 2 candidates come out. Right. And
mhm,
if a guy like Abubakar, who consoled with the Deborah Emanuel case, said we need to flush out these perpetrators, arrest them, take them to the full, book them. Now he backtracks, says, well, he didn't post that, someone else did. He didn't repost anything else to support it or to console the family. If he's going to
mhm,
be one of the candidates, he's already shot himself in the foot, probably both feet, because he's made himself look like a fool.
yeah. And which goes back to my issue that like I feel who whoever is going to lead the nation needs to be selfless, needs to needs needs to have no other agenda and have a way of uniting the whole entire nation, to and show that
Love your
that
optimism, AJ.
hey,
You show me.
hey, man,
Can you describe one country in the world that has a selfless leader?
no, well, I mean, like,
Come on,
you
give me one.
see, like, I
Yeah,
feel that
and
if then someone is going to talk about bringing a difference or making a difference, I feel that if then really the difference is being made, people are going to feel it,
no,
you
but they're
know.
saying that already, though. They say this every 4 years. Every time there's an election, they promise this, this, and this,
Yeah,
and
that they'll
then
give
they
people
post it. They
rice,
give
they'll
their
give them some
mandates.
Indomie.
Well, that's a temporary thing. That's just they're buying their votes. But I'm
Aggie,
saying
say,
they're
didn't I give
telling
you that?
they're saying that they're going to change the economy. They're going to bring back jobs. They're going to erase this. They're going to increase the electricity. They're going to do that. It's all there. So they list it up and no one holds them accountable to it. And that's
Yeah,
so first and foremost, where's the accountability to our leaders?
yeah,
You can't, there's nothing built in. Like supposedly we elect a leader, we can also de-elect the leader or get them, get a referendum and get them out,
yeah,
remove them, impeach them, whatever, help to
yeah,
move that along. But we don't do that. In
yeah,
Nigeria, we don't do that.
yeah,
You get a person in office and they don't realize that person is supposed to be elected by the Constitution, by whatever it means, but they've kind of skirted around those, and it's basically whoever brings the most money can pay off the most people, and then gets the vote, and then they, buy their way, and there's no accountability, nothing.
yeah. Well, see, like that's why, like, I feel like a lot of like a system needs to be created. And again, I'm optimistic
Systems
about it.
created, it is there.
Well, like what I'm saying is the system needs to be created where if you want to enter maybe like certain positions, you have to have experience and a history of doing humanitarian work, of doing this, of doing that, before you can be given the opportunity of taking in that position.
Well, that's up for the candidates for someone to be considered a candidate. The party has to say you're a good candidate because of this. So that's not necessarily a system. That's more sort of an understanding that they have. Whereas the understanding in Nigeria is, hey, you got money? Hey,
Yeah.
people know your name. Hey, come on over. We'll get you elected.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not little is said about even humanitarian wise. I'm not sure that's the best person, but there has to be as voters. That's where the education. That's where I think your system could come into play. Is as voters, what is your responsibility to vote for? One, to get to buy to get your electoral card.
Hmm.
Two, to what kind of candidates should you be supporting? And then three, what happens if they turn out to be idiots? What
Yeah.
can we do to get them out? Or
Yeah.
changed. So I
Yeah.
think that's where voter uh, uh, information, voter, what do you call it?
Integrity.
Education has to be involved.
Yeah.
Integrity is the electoral candidate, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like I feel, as you were earlier saying, it's the same method in politics that have always been played ever since, like, where every year it's just the same thing that ism said, yeah, we will take care of this, we will handle this, and then it's like you enter office and then it's like the same issues again. So,
Always
but
the same issues. It's this
yeah,
is yeah. I mean, you hope, and you wish that Nigeria would change. Every 4 years. Yeah. It's just, are these the best candidates that we have? An 80-year-old retired general every.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
When are we going to move on?
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
loved it when your friend did the Not Too Young to Run. That was a great idea, but it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's become political too. They've kind of bowed to the political system. You hope
yeah.
they can come out with some great candidates and get those candidate cards and figure out how to help educate voters. But yeah,
But it's a start, because people are, starting to pay attention to it. But
hopefully.
that being said, let's continue to raise the awareness and bring hope. As Kyle and I said, this is Extra. We just talk about some of the Nigerian news headlines, and we just give our two kobo or
Go bu-
two.
that's not even a half a cent. That's nothing, man.
Yeah, about just how we're reading the headlines, and we're trying to put together just some of the questions that we asked about what we're reading and what is being put out there. But yeah, continue to follow Icon, please, on our social media handles, and also continue to be a part of raising the awareness. We do have the IRF roundtable that we do that has been an amazing thing, and the next generation meetings too that we hold, and they played a huge part in the petition that we were able to get out for the American and UK embassy signed. So um, um, it's all about empowering people and working with them. Anyone that wants to work with Icon that has ideas and stuff, please share it with us. So
Just get involved. I mean, whether it's with Icon, we hope it's with Icon, and you could, subscribe to our YouTube channel, look at our videos. There's so much there, so many education, things that educate you on Nigeria, the situation, give you information. Plus, this we have their weekly newsletters. AJ said comes
yeah.
out on Mondays. Plus, this extra where we go into it, talk about it, anything. You write an email, you post something, you want to comment, you want to share something, let us know.
Yeah.
Want to be a guest on the show?
Hey, that would be so. If you want to be a guest on the show, let us know. Because we would love to hear your perspective alongside with us on some of the news headlines. So yeah,
Yep.
rock and roll.
We'll get the guest the highest bidder. If you can bring us 100 subscribers,
Woohoo!
not bots. They can't be bots. They got to be real people.
Yeah, that's right. So thank
right,
you so
man.
much for hanging out with us, and we will see you next week. Sorry we did this episode a bit earlier today, just for kicks.
Is that what it was? Just for kicks.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.